If you could only read one comic book character's stories, only one, for the rest of your life, and you had to make the decision, gun to your head, your family's in danger, who are you picking?
Oh, that's a really good question. It can't be a team? It probably shouldn't be a team event like Justice League or Avengers or Teen Titans or
individual
no teams.
character, solo character.
Does it count if other character like Superman appearing in Batman comics or like? But it's all or just get rid of every other character.
Run, if it's a Batman story and Superman pops into it or something, that counts as one of the runs. But like Injustice wouldn't count as a Batman run or something like that.
Yeah. Or any team ups or big events. I would say Swamp Thing, but I just love Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. The other Swamp Thing comics are just okay. I might say Green Lantern. Let's see, not Iron Man. Definitely not Captain America, not Thor, not Superman. I think I gotta go Batman though. I think I gotta go Batman. If you look at my collection, I definitely have the most Batman comics by like double. I think Green Lantern's after that, but he has the most consistently good, like just the most good comics out of any character, I think. So I'm going Batman.
Straight up. And I was kind of hoping you went Green Lantern or something too, because I picked Batman as well. But we're hold tight. But yeah, I have to go with Batman just because what you said though right there, like he has so many different story runs. There's so many different writers who have taken on his story, so there's a lot of variety there. He's my favorite comic book character, so immediately. But like his rogues gallery, going through all of that, never-ending gadgets, his detective skills, like there's a lot of nuance in everything he's doing. The Bat family, all of his different dynamic relationships with each Bat family member, like it's just a really well-written character. And I love reading stories where other characters pop in and out and interact with him, because it's usually pretty funny. Because Batman's out there, he's one of a kind, and so when other characters come in, they always have pretty funny commentary on how much of a psycho he is. But yeah, it's going to be Batman for me too. If I had to pick a second one though, I would pick Spider-Man, and that's because he's my second favorite comic book character, but also because I've never really read any of his runs. So if I had to choose one and be like, well, there's an open field for a lot of stuff that I have to read and I have to catch up on, and yeah, he's my favorite. So for the sake of it, if you couldn't pick Batman, who would you have picked?
I was just thinking of that. And I would definitely go Green Lantern. But the thing I was thinking about was Daredevil, because he has incredible comics, like so many good comics, and they're always really good. But Green Lantern, because of that sci-fi thing, you could be on Earth or you could be in space. And I love the sci-fi thing. And if you do Green Lantern, you have a ton of other good characters you're working with all the Green Lanterns, all the different color lanterns, and Sinestro. But yeah, the thing with Daredevil is his rogues gallery is pretty short. Bullseye and Kingpin are freaking amazing, but that's his, like, he has other rogues like Stilt Man. Still, like people who are just not that, like Gladiator, that guy who just wants to save Betty, the whole Netflix show.
Oh, yeah. What was his name? Melvin or something in the show?
Great.
Yeah.
Melvin. He has cool crossovers though. Spider-Man shows up a lot in Daredevil and it's fun. Elektra. But yeah, I would go Green Lantern. But you did nail it on the Batman rogues. He has the best rogues gallery, right? Bane, Joker, obviously, the Riddler, Ra's al Ghul. Like, there's just so many good. And then the Bruce Wayne stuff is always fun. Him and Alfred in the Batcave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman's an easy pick.
Dick, Jason, Damian, all different dynamics with Batman that are all still Batman stories. I don't say Tim because I've never read a story that Tim Drake was involved in for more than a panel. So,
Rebirth, Batman Detective Comics is the best Tim I've read, and that's an amazing story for all you listeners out there.
I started that one. I never finished it, so we'll swing back to that one soon.
Did you know? Because he's like a tech genius. He's like a super tech genius in these stories.
The only reason I know that is because the Titans show on HBO he pops up in it, and all of a sudden he's just typing in stuff, being this hacker, and which his character wasn't introduced like that. I don't believe he was just some kid who was following the Titans, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And so I looked it up. I was like, is Tim Drake like a freaking computer expert? And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, apparently he's pretty smart. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome in to another episode of Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast. I'm your host, David Cochran, and here with me today is my comics expert co-host, Jeremy Darr. Today, you will be joining us as we come to the end of the road of Jonathan Hickman's Infinity Run. But have no fear, because one road leads to another in our overall road to Secret Wars. But we will be getting off of this road for a bit and hopping onto a side road for some time, because we've been on this road for a while and we think it's time to test out some side streets and go check out some other stories for a bit. We have plenty of time until Secret Wars comes in the MCU. We're going to cover it. We're going to rock it all the way to the end of Road to Secret Wars. But yeah, so this is going to cap off the Infinity Run here tonight. We're excited to get into that. So involving that will be the last 6 issues of this run. So it's going to be New Avengers number 11, Infinity number 5, Avengers number 22 and 23, Infinity number 6, the final series in Infinity, and then wrapping it all up will be New Avengers 12, which kind of acts as like a little prologue and a lead into the next chapter. Before we dive in, I'm going to ask you as always to subscribe to our YouTube page. We're trying to get pump those numbers up. We're at rookie numbers. We got to pump those up. So we're posting full episodes, full video episodes on there if you want to watch us, mess up or make our funny faces and do our inside jokes. It's a whole nother world on the video platform there. And we're posting shorts, all that good stuff. And as always, Instagram, TikTok, X, follow us at Why So Sidious Pod. Really trying to keep those things growing and not get stagnant. So help us out there. Help us build that beautiful future of ours. All right, Jeremy, what do you say? Let's get into it, huh? We're going to start off just issue by issue. We tried a full summary for all 6 issues last time, and it's kind of hard to do with this story because it's a very vast story. So just kick it off. New Avengers number 11. Real quick, the Illuminati's dealing with another incursion with an A-lift crashing into the ground. I'm not sure what that's even referring to. It's been a minute, but we're going to press on with confidence. We see the Black Order attacking Wakanda for a second time after Corvus spots a weakness. The Black Order wins, and Thanos and the Order find the Illuminati's base facility and the weapons they've been creating. The creator A-lift from the Incursion universe tells the Illuminati that they found an A-lift from their universe, defeated. The universes are about to collide, and this new creator A-lift states that their plan to stop these incursions is to destroy all Earths. So I I read this first issue a while back, like right after we recorded our last one. But was there anything that stuck out with you on this one?
What I liked is that that A-lift reached into Doctor Strange's head and pulls out what looked like a spider. And he called it a mind web. Says it's an infectious networked remnants of a whisperer left over from a possession. So Doctor Strange is finally free of that possession.
Okay.
That was cool.
Creepy. Super creepy.
Just a spider.
Dude. That's right. Okay. I do remember that. So one of the things I noted was the Black Order attacks Wakanda. And I love that they kind of mentioned it's like the narration of Corvus Glaive coming into Wakanda, and it says, Alexander, the Napoleon, the Caesar, the Hannibal, the Khan, Corvus is the greatest general this world has ever seen. Like, that's a dope line. I like how they build up Corvus.
Yeah, but I don't really see him as a general of a full army. Like, he's kind of Thanos, I don't.
Yeah.
Do what you want with that, but I mean, Napoleon, Alexander the Great, everyone else, they're freaking humans. This dude's an alien that's coming down and just attacking humans. But yeah, that's cool. And I thought the action there was pretty sweet. We got Shuri facing off against Proxima Midnight, and Proxima Midnight starts talking shit when Shuri throws her spear at her. And she's like, You must be joking, a stick with a pointy end. Let me show you something sharper, and just takes out like 3 Wakandans with a throw of her freaking magic spear. But the art was cool, the action was cool, and it was cool to see them land back in Wakanda.
Straight up. I love the little line from Thanos. They find the Illuminati stash of weapons to like destroy the worlds, and he's like admiring how beautiful they are and how impressed he is. They go, "Sire, we also found a prison because I'm beginning to like these humans."
Yes,
It's pretty funny.
I almost texted you that today, and I was like, I'm going to hold that for the podcast because they find the bombs that are used to kill planets. So Thanos has got a hard on for that, and then the prison. Yeah, he's starting to really like these humans. That's a good line.
These guys aren't half bad. So yeah, it was, all around it was a pretty good issue. Good art. All 6 issues we're touching on today, I thought the art was all great. I really liked the art with this. Are we dealing with the same artists? They all come off pretty similar. I know a couple of them are for sure different, but I feel like
Infinity
we had some
ones
in there.
Jim Chung, and then the new Avengers, or the Avengers ones is someone named, I think it's Francis Yu. He's the one where they're in space and not as much detail, but does a good job at the vast, like all the ships in space, planets, whatever it is.
Straight up, yeah, totally different style, yeah,
but it works out right in space. That's an easy way to throw a different artist in there, and like it's okay if it looks different. It's in space, so it's gonna feel different.
Yep, totally. All right. Any other thoughts on that issue?
No, more of kind of just like I guess you can call it a filler issue. Not anything important happens except them finding the stuff in Necropolis.
Yeah. Oh, and at the very end, I think. Wait, does this issue end where they find out that Earth has fallen? No, that's Avengers 22. Never mind.
Yeah, and I got to defer to you for all these because for the listeners, again, I read that trade paperback, the Infinity Collection, that does not number these issues, along with title pages, like 2 or 3 sprinkled into each issue, making you think it's a new issue. But I just try to go based on the art switch. So I'm going to be
straight up
counting on you to lead me to the ending and beginning of these issues.
Straight up. I got you then. Yeah, no, it was that issue right there. They find out that Earth has fallen.
Oh, is that when they were putting up their Avengers flag and they were on that planet?
Okay. Yeah, so that's what New Avengers 12 ended with them kind of low-key, but then Infinity number 5 redid that situation. And so we get more detail into them finding out that Earth has fallen. So, yeah, we're rolling to Infinity 5 then. So, which, love the title of this one. It's called The Left Hand of Death. So this issue picks back up after Black Bolt released that massive blast, activating the Terrigen bomb across the world and somehow barely hurting Thanos in the process, who was holding him in front of his face. But then this is the one, yes, we go back to the victorious Avengers on Dockrum 7, and the people have proclaimed the Avengers the true heroes of the battle. But the celebration is cut short by word spreading of the fall of Earth. And at the end, Ebony Maw finds Thane surrounded by skeletons and corpses and gives him a shiny new suit before taking him back to Thanos. Meanwhile, the Black Order extracts the key to the antimatter bomb from Black Bolt, and the Illuminati destroys another incursion planet before heading to Wakanda.
I was going to ask you about that because it seemed like the Alifs destroyed that planet, like for whatever reason, because we never saw them holding the antimatter projection device. It's like we had the conversation with the Alif on their ship, then we go back to Earth and the planet explodes. So
you're right.
I guess the Alifs killed it.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't the Illuminati because, like I said, they ended that last issue saying the way we're going to stop it is by destroying every world. And then I think they proceeded to destroy that incursion world that was coming or something was going. But yeah, I don't think the Avengers were the ones who destroyed that planet that blew up.
Yeah, and then Black Swan, at like the last issue, she said, yeah, that's great that you've evaded a couple incursions, but you didn't do any of that. Like that wasn't by your hand. You got lucky. Other things happened. And then she's like, so you better watch out. You're going to have other incursions to deal with that you are going to have to decide to do something with. Things aren't just going to happen for you.
Yeah. She had a pretty demoralizing speech at the end of New Avengers 13 or 12 at the very end of this. It was like, oh, damn. Okay. Well, celebration's over, I guess. But
not a lot of joy in this one.
But yeah, no. So this one opens up with them raising that Avengers, the A. banner or flag or whatever it was. So that was cool. You know, she goes up to Cap and she's like, this was you guys again. Like every time that, you know, we were in the dark and things looked bleak, you guys were the ones who stepped up, led us out of the dark, turned the tides for us. Like, this is an Avengers world. And then we get a whole page of a bunch of different worlds claiming it to be an Avengers world because they're all like, yeah, it's you guys. Like,
Yeah,
that was pretty dope.
I had that quote too, and it's perfect to hear that from somebody after all the shit that Cap took from Jason of Spartax and other people on that council. Like, you backwater savages, like, you speak when spoken to, like, you're here if we need bodies to throw at the enemy, all this stuff. And then of course they win battle after battle, strategy after strategy, and then they get some recognition. She literally says that when we were in a tough spot, it was not won by an empire, it was not won by the council, who broke, and literally some of them like surrendered to the builders and like sided with them to say, okay, every time a battle turned, it was won by you Earthers. So great recognition.
Yep, putting Earth on the map. Love it. Love to see it. And then we got a little mini Age of Ultron deal there where they're all drinking and Thor's like, well, they said no mere human could handle this.
Oh, yeah.
I told them they don't know Steve Rogers, and he hands it to him.
That's right.
Like, I thought that was
That's
dope.
Totally Age of Ultron, right? He handed it to Steve Rogers in that movie too. Totally.
Yeah. You can't handle this, Blondie. Stanley telling Thor he can handle.
Hey, chill.
Solid performance. But yeah, then they find out that Earth's defeated. But it was dope because they all say, you know, we've got your back one more time. We'll help you with this last fight. We're gearing up with you. Like, we got you. So that was cool.
And I loved how they were about to face off another giant freaking A-lift or builder, whatever it was. And someone asked Cap, like, all right, you ready for another fight? And he's like, no, this fight's already done. Next page, Hulk just comes out of nowhere and smashes it. Like, yes, that's
Love that. Hulk smash for the win.
Yeah, it's kind of the only thing he does, though. You know, he kind of gets one opportunity in the next issue or two, and he's like, hey, go knock on their door for us. And he jumps up to Thanos, who just knocks him freaking
washes
half mile away. Like, come on, man.
Thanos kicked his ass, and then Proxima did too. He got his ass kicked twice in this issue and didn't do anything after that. Yeah, more disrespect to Hulk.
We need more. Yeah, we need more good Hulk stuff.
Yeah, dude. Because this whole story really, like, he's been in that little suit, whatever that metallic suit is that he wears in this run. No, not really.
I can't think of a comic where he really, besides like World War Hulk, like an Avengers team up, an event. I can't think of anything he does that turns the tide ever, but he should be that character like every now and then. Just a freaking force that comes in and wrecks the enemy. I want to see more of that.
I feel like he's used as a power measure for other people. Like, here, let's throw Hulk at this guy. He'll get his ass whooped. Now we know how powerful this villain is, kind of deal. I feel like that's how I always see him in comics. So, but and then the rest of this issue was all Thane, Ebony Maw, and Thanos. It was the Order and Thane and Ebony Maw. So Ebony Maw is talking to Thane. And Thane's like, what the hell? You know, I've worked my whole life to be a healer. Like, I've given my whole life to not be like Thanos, to separate myself from that atrocity that Thanos is. And Ebony Maw drops the line where he's like, well, you know, your people believe that Terrigenesis reveals their true selves. And here you are after Terrigenesis. It looks like we've got your true self finally, no matter what you were trying to do in your life, you know. And he puts him into that suit that'll contain his powers. He kind of tricks him into being like, you know, you're just going to be destructive unless you wear this suit. But he says Thane has the power to instantly change the very economics of existence. I don't know what that means, so I have two questions for you. Do you know what that means? And do we ever see Thane again after this run? Like, in any notable events?
Yes, but I don't know what that means. I don't understand Thane's power, but yes, we have a direct continuation, like linear after this, and that's this Donny Cates run called, I think it's just called Thanos, and it's a really good run. Like, it's one of my favorites. Just has a really cool sci-fi thing. Thane and Ebony Maw are out there doing stuff in space, and I think they want to kill Thanos, or Thanos is about to die, so he's looking for a cure for whatever reason. Thane's trying to stop him, and goes on quite a crazy ass path that includes the Phoenix Force, and it goes right into the Kill Baby Thanos run where Ghost Rider has to go kill Baby Thanos, and there's that the King Thanos comes from this run too.
Oh my God.
But that's a really good little run. Yeah. Very different, very unique, very sci-fi.
Everything you just described sounds dope, though. Like, you kind of just sold me on checking it out just with that description right there. Because I've always been curious about King Thanos, too.
Yeah. I remember the first time I read it, I was like, damn, this is so good. Really, like,
Straight up.
different. Doesn't really feel like anything you read before. Breath of fresh air, I guess. But very action-packed, pretty violent, too. Like,
yeah,
well,
makes
worth
sense.
checking out.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Thanos, the last thing I'll have to say on this issue was I never really noticed. I mean, I know obviously he's dominant and all the Black Order are his subordinates. You know, they're his minions. But it really stood out in this issue how much, like, they're just his dogs. And they're just, all they do is aim to please him. And if they do anything that's not even really a mistake, they just get punished and wear it. And these are all incredibly powerful characters, powerful figures. Again, they're called Corvus Glaive, the greatest general of the galaxy, like you were just saying. Is he, though? Because he's kind of just the lapdog of Thanos. All these people, though, are just straight up minions of Thanos, and it really is a solid way of showing how dominant and powerful of a figure Thanos himself is. If these figures are just worshiping this guy, like, I don't know, it's pretty wild.
Like when Black Dwarf didn't take Wakanda, comes back to Thanos, and he just
ass whooped.
Banks him. Yeah. And then later in this collection, he really wants to, get Thanos' good graces back. So he's going to defend Titan or wherever they are.
Yeah.
Fails again. We don't see what happens to him after that.
That guy calls him out too. He's like, well, I know you got to get back into Thanos' good graces. He turns to him and just completely smashes him with his hammer. Like, oh, that was stupid. So yeah, that was how that issue ended. It was, I think Ma called at the very end and said, I have your son. Does this please you? And Thanos was like, yes, very much. We'll come to you.
Yeah. And they probed Black Bolt's mind for how to use the bombs. Maybe that was the next issue, but.
Oh, yeah. I think that might have been the next issue, but I also just kind of realized something. So I have my notes issue by issue. And I got a little summary of the notes for, each issue. And I combined Avengers 22 and 23. I don't think I read 23. I think I read Avengers 22 and went straight to Infinity 6.
Let's see. Is that where maybe that's when the Avengers come back to Earth? Did you see Captain America and Iron Man talking over comms?
Yep. They talked over comms. I believe that was at the start of Infinity 6.
Okay. Well, then did you see that I think that was when they might have been talking about how they're going to break the blockade, get through that, all the spaceships around Earth to get to Earth. And they talk about how there's people on the inside going to help them out.
Yes, so I saw the start of that's what it was. I saw Rocket Raccoon and whoever else it was board the orbital, peak the orbital. And they infiltrated. But I never saw that resolve itself, the peak orbital station and all that. So that's what I missed.
That was
sorry.
There's an actual an Infinity tie-in of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's a few issues showing them infiltrating the peak and doing what they talked about in this run when they said got people on the inside to bring down the defenses or whatever. So there's definitely tie-ins that explain that.
Okay. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll run through 22 real quick, and then, if I'm missing whatever from 23 and anything important pops up. But for those of you listening out there, if you're following along, you know what happened in Avengers 23. Essentially, they just finished the mission of what we're about to talk about right now. So the Avengers number 22, it opens up with the Galactic Armada showing up on Titan instead of Earth to draw Thanos away. I was a little confused. That's why I was confused. I never read 23 and got that clarified. And they also learned that Thanos is doing all of this only to kill his son. And Cap and the Avengers take some of the Alliance army and head to Earth. They split into 3 teams, one to take on the blockade, one to infiltrate and reclaim the peak orbital station, and one to infiltrate Earth and take down the Order and Thanos on the ground. After some terrible and great motivational speeches, our heroes head off into the fight in this issue.
Are you talking about what Captain America said to Manifold. Is it Manifold or
Yes.
Eden or
both?
Yeah,
His name's Eden, but his hero's
Okay.
name is Manifold. But yeah, so we could just jump right into that. This issue ends with that speech between
that's
both
right.
captains talking to Manifold. And it was just horrible. It was such a terrible pep talk by Captain Marvel. Like,
I don't remember what Captain Marvel said. I remember Captain America talking about, because Eden was, he was like, dude, we just won a whole war. Now we're about to go fight another war. And Cap says, there's no man or woman of fate, no hero's journey, just life, how you choose to live it. All we could ask for is you do your job in the moment when we are all depending on you. And then Thor says, Steve is a great warrior, Steve and Carol. I'm honored to call him my friend, but he couldn't be more wrong. God's men, everything in between, are born, we die, but each has a purpose. The universe conspired to put the world in our hands. It's a test of the Titans, blah, blah, blah. Your entire life led to this day. And so the speeches themselves, they're all right. But I like that we have two of our main characters like saying the complete opposite thing. Like, but neither is right or wrong necessarily. It's totally up to the audience and their beliefs. But, that's comics. There's not just one moral situation, one thing to believe in. And you got two characters that respectfully are saying the opposite thing. But it's not like Thor's like, nah, Captain's an idiot. Don't listen to him, blah, blah, blah. Like people do in the world today, right? It's like, no, he just respectfully gives his take on the situation, which is the opposite of Captain America's. But I love the balancing of the opposite perspectives there.
Yeah, no, I love that too. It was realistic. Teammates are, have different feelings, have different viewpoints, and obviously Cap and Thor had different upbringings, different lives, so they have different views on things. But when I was reading it, so Captain Marvel starts. So Eden's like one of the youngest dudes in this group. He's never gone through this. This is a very new deal for him, and yeah, he's overwhelmed. He's like, I feel like we just got out of this. Like, how do you keep going? He says, how do you make sense of it? How do you keep going sometimes? It feels futile sometimes, And Captain Marvel just says, don't over mythologize it, kid. Believe whatever you want. Just make sure to hit the other guy before he hits you, and walks off. And I was like, super motivating for a young guy who needs some help here, Carol.
Thanks,
good work,
Carol.
And then Cap says his, and I was like, okay, that was a little less motivating than a typical Cap speech, but that was a little better. And then when Thor said that, I got like a little goosebumps. I was like, okay, that one would have motivated me to be like, because at the end he ends it with, you like, as you said, your entire life has led to this day, and then he says, you were born for this, as was I. And they head off, and I'm like, okay, that will get me hyped to go into battle alongside Thor. Like, yeah, that'll do it. So, but
and they totally needed him. They needed Manifold in multiple times in this war. Like, they wouldn't have gone in and infiltrated any ships, which they did like 2 or 3 times. He was crucial in this whole story.
100%, bro. He was there from the beginning, jumping them where they needed to go. Like, yeah, he was the most improved player in this little event.
I wonder if the MCU has any plans for this character, because he's not a big character. Like, after this, I don't know. Before this, I don't know what he was doing. But I feel like they had talked about bringing in Manifold at one point.
That'd be cool. They need some type of, well, they have the TVA now with their time pads, but the teleporting thing, we even had Blink for a little bit in Days of Future Past with X-Men. We had Nightcrawler, who kind of does what Manifold does, but he has to be physically touching you. Not quite as powerful as Manifold, but I think we need one of those in the MCU now. It adds a new little aspect to a mission.
Yes, you got Doctor Strange, who does the portals.
Dang it!
When the writers deem it like that, because like when they were fighting Thanos on Titan in Infinity War, why didn't he ever just throw Thanos into a snowy planet like he did Black Dwarf or Cool Obsidian, whatever his name was? They kind of use it sometimes, but when they need it, they don't, because I guess it's hard writing. I don't know.
Which that Wong scene though, where he cuts off Cold City's hand. You're invited to my wedding, Wong.
Yeah,
iconic. It was pretty funny when they learned all of this was because Thanos just wants to kill his son, and they're like, "Does this make sense to anyone?" And Cap's like, "This is Thanos we're talking about. Expecting some type of rationality to win is pointless."
That's right.
But that was pretty much it. Avengers 22 was just them getting hyped up to go into this battle, and then Avengers 23 was the battle itself that I missed. Was there anything notable you want to bring up from that battle?
Was this the issue where they killed Black Dwarf?
That was at the opening of Infinity 6.
Oh,
yeah, that was Infinity 6.
Well, they re-explained it in the Infinity issue, but it was Francis Yu on art, and maybe that was the one you missed, but it was sick because like Gladiator, the Scroll, Annihilus, and Ronan, like we're going toe to toe with him for a couple pages, and then Ronan just smashes his skull into mush, like a whole page of him smashing it was sick.
Man. Say, I got that. They replayed that one panel. So I saw it in like a jumble at the opening of Infinity 6. It was like panel of all different events, but one of them was Ronan smashing Cole Obsidian's head. I was like, oh, that was dope.
Yeah. So that was way more. Yeah, it was played out in the previous issue, and it was a really cool little action scene.
$1 fine for me. At least we got JD here who did his homework and actually read the issue. So there you go. Was there anything else from that one?
No, unless that's when Iron Man started talking to Cap, like, hey, nice to see you, Mom. It's been a while. Like, sorry, the house is a huge mess, but it's great to see you. Was that conversation?
That probably happened in 23. I think I got another highlight of that conversation, but only like one panel again.
I loved it because we haven't seen them together since like the first issue or two. And it's like they've been separated. Cap and Tony together are always really fun together, like Batman and Superman. And it was like it's like your mom and dad just, they got out of a big fight right in your home, and now they're happy and talking again. And it just felt really cool to see them back together.
Nice little welcome home for Cap. Okay.
Yeah, mom and dad are back together. And that's exactly what Iron Man says. He's talking to Cap like he's his mom.
It's a classic Iron Man line.
Because the house is a mess, right? Thanos just invaded. Like, things didn't go well at home when you left.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't really hold it down on our end, Cap. Sorry about that. So that happened at the end of 23 too. All that stuff rolls into Infinity number 6, which kind of retouches on some of it. So this issue opens up with, like I said, all the heroes attacking at once. Rocket Raccoon leads the way into the orbital station. Ronan kills Black Dwarf. Because again, weirdly enough, Cole Obsidian is his name in the MCU, but for some reason in the comics, Cole Obsidian is the name of the group. It's Black Order / Cole Obsidian. So
is it not the Black Order in the comics at all?
I think it says the Black Order / Cole Obsidian. So
that's weird.
I don't know.
That's a really weird decision to. All right, let's put the character's name as the team name, and then just keep the Black Order team. Like, why not give them just a separate name? Now that's really confusing.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, his name is... Damn, I already forgot. Black Dwarf.
Black Dwarf. Yeah, and he's not black.
No, like he's light tan.
Nothing makes sense with the naming of this character.
There's no logic, and they're just trying to confuse you at this point. But so they break through the blockade. The Illuminati and Supergiant are facing off in Necropolis, another stupid name, as she has taken the mind of Black Bolt and control of the bomb. The Avengers, including Cap, Hulk, Captain Marvel, Thor, and Hyperion, take the fight to Thanos and the Order and get their asses kicked, before turning the tides with some key moves by Cap and Hyperion. And Starbrand reappears, steps up, and obliterates Thanos' fleet and forces the remainder into retreat. And thanks to Lockjaw and Mad Max, the Illuminati is saved from Supergiant. The Avengers try to finish the fight against Thanos and Proxima, while Ebony Maw whispers manipulation into Thane's ear, eventually leading Thane to stopping Thanos and Proxima once and for all, or at least for now. And the last we see is the Illuminati looking at a frozen Thanos and planning to continue the fight against the incursions. So this was my favorite issue by far of all 6 of these that we're covering here tonight. Most notes, talking points. I mean, it was just a great issue. The action, the art, the storytelling. We get to see so many cool matchups. We get to see Thane pretty much coming into his own, this new major power character, Thanos' son. I mean, there's just a ton packed into this issue. So it was my favorite. I don't know if it was yours.
I think the one you missed, it might have been my favorite.
Damn. I got to go back and read that.
It's not like a standout as far as the whole event goes, though,
Okay.
But the art and the action, I mean, that was like, it was cool to just see a direct fight. Avengers versus Black Order. Everything's been so crazy, epic, like sci-fi, but no real just like one-on-one fights. So that was really cool, to cap it off with a classic comic book fight. And I loved the deaths, like the way they killed, was Hyperion the one that killed Corvus Glaive?
Yes, that was savage.
Yeah, after Cap's shield blocks Proxima Midnight's attack, which she was surprised about, hits Corvus Glaive, and then he just obliterates him with his lasers. That was sick. And then the Supergiant death was really cool. Love that they just transport her and the bomb to another place, and then transports back, blows it up.
I didn't know what the hell happened. I was like, did the planet explode?
Yeah,
that looks like the entire planet exploded. Did everybody just die? Like, I'm so I want to ask you, what's Lockjaw's abilities? Because I'm not. I guess
he's a transporter. Yeah,
okay.
Teleportation.
Okay.
So took her and the bomb somewhere else, let it blow up, and he transports back. Loved that.
Okay. I was so confused. I had no idea what had just happened. I just saw a panel with a massive explosion in space, and it was just like, I don't know what else that could have been. Okay. Smart.
That's one cool thing about comics is they say that it teaches you to, because like I'll read through sometimes and just get like a surface value visual on what happened, and I keep going. You go back and you actually look at the details, and it forces you to actually like depict what's going on, and that's a cool thing for your brain to have to kind of decipher. But it's also really easy just to skim through the pages, read, move on without really like I do that too. I look at the words, barely look at the pictures, and move on. But then sometimes the pictures say a lot. They really do.
No, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of detail in comics while you're reading it, and you can still enjoy it if you don't pick up on everything. But yeah, there's nailed it. The stuff is there if you're willing to look for it, if you're picking up on it. Yeah, there's a lot of context clues in the images, but I totally was lost on that. So I was like, I gotta ask JD what Lockjaw does.
Now, were there any other deaths? There was like what happened to Proxima Midnight? She didn't die.
Yes. She didn't die. She was frozen with Thanos.
Oh yeah, okay. So she's in the box.
But that whole thing was dope. We get Proxima explaining her spear, which was wild. She says, my spear was forged from a sun trapped in distorted space-time. All at once, it was a life-giving new star and also an all-consuming supernova. Like, bro, what? That's your weapon? Like, I thought Thor's explanation of it was forged in the heart of a dying star was wild and fantastical. But what you just said is just a whole nother level. And then Corvus holds it to Hulk's throat, states that it has the weight of a star. He's like, you feel that holding you down. That's the weight of a star. So this thing is like Mjolnir, but more capable almost. And the blade can cut atoms. And so he's like, this beast's skin is thick, but this thing can cut atoms. And it cuts him a little bit, I think. And we see that in Infinity War against Vision. Like, he pierces Vision, and that's how he's able to stop him from phasing, because they straight up slice the atoms. Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
wild. And
again, like you said, just using Hulk as a means to show how strong something is, whether it's a character or a weapon.
Thanks, Hulk. He's just a power measure. He's a ruler.
Punching bag.
Well, let's put Hulk up to, okay, he's that powerful. All right.
He's like the thing that you hit in the arcade that shows you how hard you hit. Like, that's Hulk for you.
Yeah, poor Hulk. But dude, the whole fight scene was dope. Like you said, she's like surprised when Cap deflects the lasers with the shield. It totally reminded me of Darkseid. Because there's a point where Batman is able to dodge his Omega beams, and Darkseid's like, damn, nobody really dodges my Omega beams. Like, he was actually impressed by it, and Proxima was impressed by Cap, and then realizes, oh no, he deflected it straight into Corvus. It just wrecked him.
Who are married, or they're together in this comic. That's crazy.
Yep.
She's kind of
you can see that in Infinity War a little bit too, when Corvus, she calls him my love in Infinity War, and when he gets hurt, she's all worried and is pulling him away and is pissed when she's acting like he's dead. And so apparently they got a little baby going on there.
Yeah, she's kind of hot. He's kind of ratchet looking.
He's a little scary, that's for sure.
She's not that scary, hot, though. Let's be clear.
Yeah, well, comics. But so she's fighting Hulk again, kicking his ass yet again, and she hits him with this weird bolt of energy, and it transforms him back into Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? How did you do that?
She's like, thanks. I've been trying to do that for years. Let me get that device.
Just healed him. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting power. So this whole fight I love, because we're just seeing Thanos tearing stuff up, Proxima going on this fight, which I realize I don't know anything about Thanos' power set. I think he used an ocular blast in one of those panels, which I had no idea he had the capability of doing.
Sometimes he does power beams out of his hands too. Yeah, they didn't do that in the MCU, and I think it's unclear to me too.
Okay, I was curious if that was familiar to you, because I was like, I don't know what the hell this guy can do, I guess.
Dude, loved the small Thor interaction there. He hits him with the bolt of lightning, then comes and just smashes him.
Yes.
Such sick art. Like, it was a whole page of the thunder and the hammer, which didn't really do anything, but it was still really cool.
It was dope, though. Yeah, he was hitting him with the bolts, and Thanos was talking trash. He's like, "What, is that all you got, Senate?" And he hit him with another bolt of lightning, kept talking trash, and then Thor just came down and smacked him with the hammer. Like,
yeah, that had to
the
hurt.
whole interaction was awesome.
Right. But Thane doing the thing was very abrupt for me. So it's like, I didn't even think he was capable of that, or like considering fighting back. Like, they could have used an extra couple little panels, like with maybe some inner dial, like something that led up to that. It just kind of happened at one point, right?
Yeah, Ma was whispering in his ear throughout the whole fight about, this is inevitable. You see these mortals and gods trying to stop Thanos, and they can't, blah, blah. Basically, like, hyping up to be like, you're the only one here who can stop Thanos if you finally embrace your path. If you actually lean into your path, you'll know you're the only one here who can stop Thanos. So he's kind of hyping him up the whole time there. But yeah, the only explanation we get to his powers is Tony in the next issue, where he goes, with his left hand brings death, and his right hand is something far worse, living death. And then it shows Thanos and Proxima stuck in that frozen cube or whatever it is. So apparently, he woke up in the village with skeletons all over him. So apparently he let out some massive blast with his left hand, because Tony says that's what killed all the villagers. And then in his right hand, he can turn people into amber cubes or something.
That's how they got that's how they revived the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
That is
a little sapling case.
And then there's something else from this issue too I kind of text you about, which was about Supergiant. So Supergiant is trying to like ignite this bomb, and Doctor Strange is getting pissed. First off, he's like, "I'm so sick of you guys meddling with these insanely dangerous powers. You don't know what you're meddling with, and you guys keep breaking it." Like, he just loses it, and so he goes, "Let me show you the abyss," and gets all intense and dark about it. And it releases the abyss, and then we go back later, and the abyss did nothing. It was a bunch of tentacles that got vaporized by Black Bolt instantly.
Yeah, okay. So you did see that.
Is that
you saw them?
What's the beast's name that those tentacles are coming from?
Not like Shumagorath, or is that what you're thinking of?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, it's not that. But
okay,
that is what he that's similar to what he conjures when they fight that knockoff of the Justice League later, right? It seems like it.
Oh, yeah, a little bit, I guess, huh?
Now that I think about it, he hasn't like sold his soul yet. Like, I think he starts to at the end of this.
He's about to, right?
Yeah. But all those tentacles, just gets wiped off with a blast.
Yeah.
I like the exchange there. Supergiant, they have Black Bolt hit all the Avengers with a blast. That's always good eye candy there, good art. But I like Reed Richards. He covers his mouth and then just wraps around him and Supergiant. Good to see Reed Richards in action. Can't wait to see him do it like MCU stuff, because they can get so creative with his powers,
Yeah, they got to nail that CGI. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Nobody's really nailed the stretchy CGI yet.
True.
So it'll be curious to see, how they do that. But yeah, there's a lot of potential to see some dope stuff coming out of there.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. Word is it's Pedro Pascal, which is confusing. A lot of people confirmed it. I can't picture him being Reed at all, really. But
me neither.
I don't know.
Apparently, it's in talks. A bunch of sites said it's confirmed, but technically it is in talks. But it must be pretty far in talks, because it seems like it's going to happen according to. But we'll get into that. Check out our Weekend Geek coming up here.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, we might have Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards there. But yeah, Reed did his thing here. Gets T'Challa enough time to blow up the bomb and everything. But there's one point in this fight where Supergiant's talking, and T'Challa's like, "Don't ignite the bomb. Like, there's no delay. If you ignite this, we all die." And she goes on to explain her backstory, which was Thanos found her at an orphanage for the unwell. And her bunkmate was apparently one of Thanos' sons that he was hunting to kill. And he killed his son in front of her, or him. I don't know what Supergiant is. And Supergiant begged him to do the same, begged him to kill Supergiant as well. And Thanos instead made her promise, or I have both of them written in this paragraph, made a promise she'd help him track down his other sons. So she goes to ignite the bomb because she's ready to die, and she was pissed that Thanos made her wait. So she's got that line of like, well, then I'll do this now, and I'll take out Thanos too then, for making me wait for my death. So it's just a little backstory to Supergiant that I didn't remember at all that I thought was pretty interesting.
Me neither. Yeah, I don't remember that at all from last time.
Yeah, straight up.
But then again, Supergiant or any of the Black Order, like I don't remember any of them from before this or much after this. It's like, I don't know. Maybe Hickman created the Black Order too. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look into. Let's see, what else did we have in there? They're frozen. I think this is all that. Yeah. Bombs igniting, do all that, boom, bang. They transport Supergiant into space, and they blow up and die. Oh, but we did, so the epilogue of this issue, that's right. So we go through Black Bolt. We kind of get some answers about him and what his plan was the whole time. Mad Max is narrating it, essentially, and he's like, oh, so your plan was to detonate the Terrigenesis bomb this whole time. Thanos or no Thanos, that was your plan. Your plan was to sacrifice our kingdom of Attilan in order to spread seeds for a new age of Inhumans. So Max was like pissed at him. He thought he was going to be the last line of the Inhumans, and then he realized, oh, no, he's starting a new age for the Inhumans that's breaking out across the universe. So that was kind of cool.
I didn't understand it, though. Well, I don't know what comes after this anyway, but like, didn't he create a new age? Because he already like manifested all of the Inhumans' powers on Earth. So I thought that kind of is the same thing he was talking about. Then you saw that's a picture of a bunch of cocoons or something, but I didn't know what was confused on Max's part or what was different from what already happened, but I don't know. I'm not a big Inhumans guy, so.
Yeah, I'm a little out of it too, and I totally forgot about the cocoon, so I don't know if that's new. What's their substance called? Like that they harvest for all that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Terrigen.
Terrigen.
That's it. Yeah, so maybe it's natural Terrigen that's sprouting on Earth, and now the Inhumans can be born and thrive on Earth now or something. I don't know.
Straight up. There is something that we're not catching, because, it's supposed to be different somehow.
Yeah. And it was just a cool little ending. We see the Ex-Nihili are all gathered on their planets, and they're becoming healers again. They're healing the planets that were damaged in this entire thing. We get the foreshadowing of the Skrulls. Kl'rt becomes the Emperor. And I love the little narration where they're like, they were all friends. They all worked together there, but they're like, every Skrull was born with conquest in his blood. So Kl'rt couldn't even be to blame for what would happen in the future. Basically saying they're going to go back to being villains. They're going to go back to being these galactic conquerors and stuff. Yeah. It was like, they never had a chance. That was always their destiny anyways. So it was cool. It was cool. Yeah. I was going to ask you about Thane and Maw, but you answered it. So it's good to know there's a future there.
And then you had Shuri getting pissed at Black Panther, finding out that Namor, her freaking enemy who she just decided to go to war with, who washed Wakanda with the tidal wave, like apparently he's been coming to Necropolis and talking about incursions, Illuminati stuff, and she's pissed at him, and totally understandable by her. I don't know why Black Panther just doesn't tell her. Why does it have to be such a secret? Like,
didn't Namor say that?
It. Yeah, I mean, after when him and
he's like,
Black Panther,
you could have told her. Yeah, he's like, you could have told her and said, "Hey, Namor is here. I have him now. Like, and this is why I was doing this." You could have done that, but there's a bigger purpose here, kind of deal. And so it's kind of like a respect thing from Namor.
Yeah, the respect for Black Panther from Namor. I just don't know why Black Panther wouldn't tell Shuri about how important the incursions are and why he needs the Illuminati. But then again, why does the Illuminati need Namor, honestly? What does he do? Why is he so special that he's a part of the Illuminati, now that I think about it? I get why
he doesn't even have a kingdom anymore.
Yeah. And it's like he doesn't really bring much to the table. Like, yeah, he's a big gun. He can do some fighting, but he's not the guy that's giving them ideas. He's not like brainstorming to the level of, your Tony Stark and your Doctor Strange. And so, yeah, I wonder why he's even there.
Good point, bro. Professor X obviously bringing stuff to the table. T'Challa is an incredible genius and has the riches of Wakanda. Tony Stark, yeah, everybody has a very specific purpose there. Black Bolt, well, he's the leader of Atlantis, which is a totally different species, so he represents there. And I don't know, he's a mystery. Again, we don't know a lot about him.
He doesn't even talk. He just sits there.
So it's hard to judge that one because I don't know what he is or isn't doing in that room. But
what do you think of these plans? Just sits there.
All right, we got the thumbs up from Black Bolt. We're good to go. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that guy does, but other than get his ass kicked by Wanda. But yeah, so that whole Wakanda thing, and there's no need to summarize it because New Avengers number 12 is essentially what the end of Infinity 6 was. It's just tying up loose ends for each of these little groups we've been following around. So New Avengers 12 opens up with Wakanda and them going through all that. So T'Challa's kicked out now.
Yeah.
What else wrapped up in there? Doctor Strange. So we head to Doctor Strange after that. And he tells Wong, leave me in this room, lock the door. If I don't come out of here in 3 days, call Reed Richards and have him come put the entire Sanctum Sanctorum off of this astral plane.
But take
what
it
are
off
you doing?
Send it into another plane of existence. Holy shit.
A little dramatic there, Stephen, but all
yeah.
right.
And such a sick page of art. Him just like doing his meditating with just these fiery figures or shapes all around him, just getting demonic, man. Like that's the Doctor Strange I want in the MCU.
That's him, right?
So
that's the Doctor Strange I didn't know because I only saw him in the MCU, and then I start reading these comics, and it's like, oh my god, he is so much darker than the movies.
Yes.
Like it's not even close. It's almost a different character.
Yeah, and for the listeners, that power he's conjuring really comes into play in some badass ways later.
So yeah, I was wondering about that. So he says he plans to use the Blood Bible, which obviously there's so many different dark magic books that keep popping up. But I'm assuming this is not the Darkhold because I'm pretty sure the Darkhold exists in the Marvel comics, not just the MCU. So that's something that already exists. So it's not that. It's something different, but I would imagine it's just something similar, another dark, powerful book that they're forbidden to use.
Right.
Yeah. But it reminds me of What If, the storyline where he's going back over and over and over to save Christine, and he's diving into these things he shouldn't to gain extra power. And even the tentacles part, he uses that in that What If episode too. So there was a lot of What If touches in this issue right here.
Yeah, like the creators of What If wanted to do the more demonic Strange from the comics, and they found a way to do it.
They did, totally, on Disney. Like, who would have guessed? Disney animated, and they straight up went full on like dark Stephen Strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So I thought that wraps it up for the issue. I thought this was a really strong ending for the Infinity run. With Infinity number 6 was my favorite issue. It packed so much of a punch with the fights, but then this little New Avengers 12, it was just a nice epilogue. Oh no, I'm forgetting something. It was a nice epilogue that serves to set up the future. You know, it's like a victory. Oh, how's everybody doing after the win? And then we get the dark, ominous ending with Black Swan at the end of this issue. And that's, as JD had mentioned, she says, you know, I love her line. Well, she uses a different language. And then Tony's like, I'm sorry, what? And Beast goes, who worries about a dog when facing a demon is what she said. And she goes, oh, quick learner, Hank. She's laughing at them. She's like, you guys are like proud and stuff. Like, you took out builders? That's what you're talking about being happy about? First off, like you said, you guys didn't even do that. And what if it was map makers? What if it was the Black Priests? Like, what would you have done then? You have no idea what you're up against here. And it was kind of like, oh, well, all the hope just kind of left the window right there with that line there, Black Swan. Yeah,
what an excellent way to you put a period on the whole sentence there. You know, the whole event's over. Your freaking Thanos builders are gone. But of course, it's comics. It's, you know, you got to tell us there's another threat coming. That's more of a movie thing, right? Usually a comic book has a good ending. You already know something's coming in the next issue, so whatever. But it really just showed like this now after Infinity, the real Hickman, like the real road to Secret Wars really starts now. because everything,
Straight up.
the Namor Black Panther feud picks up more, which is really fun. But yeah, that's the whole new thing. Everything from now on leading to Secret Wars. There's no other Thanos or other invasions. It's these black priests and more incursions and map makers and Doctor Doom soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we said this was a vast, complicated, intricate story. The Infinity Run, Jonathan Hickman. Well, again, Secret Wars is still a part of this Hickman overall story, and it doesn't get more simple as we go into Secret Wars. There's a lot of very mystical, fantastical things that are going to happen where we're learning a lot of new names, a lot of new powers, a lot of new areas we're going to, and spectral zones and all this stuff, and the Molecule Man. Like, things are getting pretty wild coming into Secret Wars.
Yeah. And we're going to cover each volume, right? But I will say there are a couple pretty slow volumes that I'm not like super stoked to reread and cover it. Then again, I think I've only read those volumes once. Maybe there's some cool stuff, or, now that we know more about what's coming and what's happened, maybe I'll appreciate it more. But yeah, there's a couple slow volumes until you get to like time runs out, and like a couple other volumes are really good, but yeah, a couple slow ones. We'll see. We'll talk about it.
Straight up. They might be short episodes then. We might just briefly give our thoughts or tie it into something else more exciting. But yeah, no, we're definitely going to do them. That'll be fun. Before we sign off here, what was your overall thought on the Infinity Run? Don't need a summary or anything, but as far as how many? 18 issues? 18 issues we read covering the Infinity event. What's your take on it? Is this up high in your ratings, or okay?
Yeah, man, one of my favorite events. It really is such
straight up
epic like spectacle. Like, there's the sci-fi, there's the Earth stuff, there's so many great moments, like Thor, all this stuff going on, even just like dialogue with some of the Illuminati characters. It's like it doesn't miss a beat. It doesn't, like, no issue is slow. Just so fun. Captain America strategizing against galactic armies, and just a great event.
Straight up. Agreed. It's up there for me too. You covered it all. We get to go into so many different genres in this story, and it leads up to Infinity. The Infinity issues 5 and 6 are just great. It's just a dope story, and we get that Thanos and the Black Order thing that we saw, that I, for the first time, experienced, and I'm sure a lot of others did too, in Infinity War. Well, again, like you said, you're not even sure if Hickman created this Black Order. So it was cool seeing these really good villains that I loved, and arguably my favorite MCU movie, fleshed out in a comic run like this, with Thanos, with the Star Wars aspect to everything, and leading into Secret Wars too. So there's slow spots here and there, but overall, this is a super fun 18-issue run.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was fun
recommended.
To cover. Very highly recommended. Just fun to talk about, fun to share it. Hopefully, get those listeners, man, listen to these episodes. It's good stuff. Don't even read it. Just don't read it. Just listen to these.
I've always said that we're such great charismatic storytellers that it's better to just listen to our podcast rather than to go read it.
Right. Right.
My take, my humble opinion, but I think we both recommend this one for sure. Definitely worth checking out, and it'll be worth it once you get to Secret Wars too. So, So that, as I said, is going to wrap it up for this run as well. Our next comic episode's coming out. I believe we're going to be touching on Children's Crusade, maybe a little Sinestro Wars. I don't remember. Sinestro Wars. Nailing it. So yeah, we've got a few different genres we're going to be bouncing back and forth to. So tune in. We always have comic episodes coming out. Check out our comic episode with Yoo-Hoo Comic Review. And we have another one coming out, right?
Not with Marvel Plus. We're not going to get that on there.
No. With Yoo-Hoo, though, didn't you guys just record another episode?
Yeah. So you could check that out on Yoo-Hoo's YouTube page. It's me and Yoo-Hoo going over the Bendis Daredevil run. So check it out on his YouTube page for the full thing, and we'll post a couple things. But yeah, that won't be in our library.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, worth checking out. Again, he was our guest. It's a good little podcast episode, and him and JD are good people to listen to when it comes to comics. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Show them some love. I think that'll do it here for tonight. Unless you got any parting thoughts, JD, before we send these listeners home.
Nope, that's it, man. Infinity, go read it. It's amazing.
Go read it. It is amazing. So thank you for joining us. Be looking for our future episodes. We got the big 100th episode coming up here soon. A bunch of top 5 lists. Fun. It's going to be a fun episode. We're going to celebrate our survival this far, over a year of podcasting. And we're not boycotting the Marvels. If you're wondering why we just haven't addressed the movie at all whatsoever, our good friend Jeremy's going to be visiting. We're all going to go see it as a podcast, and we'll release something depending on how it goes, whether it's an instant reaction, a live thing, or if we do an episode, we'll see. But we will address the movie for good things. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for joining us here tonight. And as always, we will see you next time on Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast.